Hey, what's going on guys, and welcome to a new video. And this video is a bit special to me because it's my favorite time of the year, which is Google I/O time. And as you guys know, I'm a Google fanboy and I love it, so let's dig right into what happened. So you guys know, I will post a link down below to a YouTube video that Google has posted of the whole Google I/O live stream. So if you guys want to watch the full thing, it'll be down below. I'll just recap everything from it for you guys in a short video. So let's dig right into it. So the first things first, Sundar got right on stage and was happy to announce that there are 2 billion active devices for Android. Then they moved on to photos, and he spoke about how Google Photos can now move obstacles out of the way. So they show up, and I'll put a picture on the screen. They show up how there's this guy playing baseball and there's like a fence that the lady had to take a photo through, and it just removes the fence out of the way and keeps like the photo looking like as if there was no fence there, which is like, this is like some top-notch epic stuff. So then he moves on to announcing Google Lens, which if you remember Google goggles, it's pretty much the same thing but on steroids. So what he does is it shows on stage him taking a picture of some flower, and it tells him what type of flower it is. And also the best example he's shown, which is like one of my favorites, is he mentions how if you have, you know, your router and your modem, how it's got the username and password, if you take a picture of it, it will actually like sign you into Wi-Fi based on the username and passwords displayed on the modem, like the little barcodes that you see on modems, which is like so cool. That's like the coolest thing ever. Next up, we've got Assistant is coming to iOS because Siri doesn't really work that well, so iOS needs Assistant. Moving on to Android, Assistant you can actually type because, you know, you don't want to always speak to it, especially when you're out in public, so you can now type to it, which is cool. And there's also the Google Assistant SDK available for people to put into places. So I know they said that you can have like coffee machines and everything like that running Assistant. Next up, we have Google Home. So you guys know I'm from Australia, which means I had no access to Google Home. Google is launching Google Home in Australia, Canada, France, Germany, and Japan. Guys, that's coming later. And also, if you're in Canada and the United States, there's hands-free calling for free, so you can actually ask Google to call. And they said that that will show up as a private number unless you want to link your number to it. Google Home will also come with Bluetooth, which means now you can actually stream audio from any device, which is pretty cool as well. Next up, we had Google Photos, and there was 3 things that they really focused on. So the main 3 things they decided to focus on was suggested sharing, shared libraries, and photo books. So suggested sharing was like, let's just say I was out with like my friends and I took photos of my friends. It would recognize that my friend's face was in the picture and it would say, hey, do you want to send these pictures that include your friend to the person, which is pretty cool, and vice versa. There's also shared libraries, and the example they showed on stage was the guy could, you know, take every picture that he ever took that included his wife, and his kids could automatically be sent to his wife. And obviously there's settings that are told, like you can tell the app what type of photos and people or from what time or certain pictures you can send. So there's obviously control over it. And also if you're in America, you can also do photo books, which are like hardcover and softcover versions, and they'll print them out and send them to you, which are cool, but again, US only. Google Photos is now getting Google Lens as well, which is pretty cool. So remember I explained Google Lens earlier. Next up, we had my man Dave Burke come onto stage, and he's like my favorite Google presenter ever. God, I love him. He's like so good on stage. He needs more stage time, like period. And he got up and, you know, there was an Android thing happening in the background which showed a little montage of it climbing a ladder and pretty much getting like 2 billion active devices, which is, and I should just point out, when I say 2 billion, I mean 2 billion monthly active devices. Like, this is insane. So he talks about Android O, and obviously he says he can't talk about every single feature because that'll take 6.5 years to finish. Instead, he just narrows it down to 2 main topics: fluid experiences and vital. So I'm going to break them down for you. So with fluid experiences, he showed up picture-in-picture, which if you've got any smart TV, you know how that works. So you can have YouTube playing, for example, on your phone in like a little picture within your actual phone, where you could have like Keep Open or a notepad open, and you can type stuff up while you're watching YouTube on a tiny little like portion of your phone. I'll put a photo up on the screen so you guys can see that. You also get notification dots, which is very similar to iOS actually. So the icon will have a little dot next to it on your home screen, which would indicate that has a notification and needs your attention. You also get autofill throughout Android now, and you have smart selection. So you know when you can like copy and paste things and you'd select words, it now is clever about how you select. So if you're selecting like, for example, a street name within an address, it will know you're trying to get the whole address, so it would copy the whole address for you. And on the top, when you get like cut, copy and paste, you actually also get another option. Because it knows an address, it will show you like Google Maps straight away. If you're, for example, highlighting a phone number, it would bring up the phone icon so you could automatically just call them, which is pretty cool. So moving on to vitals, that had more to do with security, OS optimizations, and wise limits. So the main purpose of security had to do with Play Protect. So everyone knows that, Google does like 1 million scans on every app that goes into the Play Store, and then it actually scans it again once it's installed on your phone. It will continuously scan your phone for any apps. Now they're making that more obvious, so you have like a little icon on the top that will say Play Protected, which is pretty cool. So people that don't know about it, like, it's more obvious. They've also done a lot of witchcraft behind on all the Android code, which has made it 2 times faster. So they said there was boot times that were 2 times faster, and apps would run roughly 2 times faster without the app developer having to do anything to, which is pretty cool. And the other one was about wise limits, is what they called it. So pretty much what that meant is Android would be smart about how it deploys all its power and everything like that. So for example, it would know how to handle, so it would know when to limit certain apps from running in the background and free up memory and stuff like that. So all behind the scenes stuff. Then we moved on to Android Go. So this is a light version of Android that will start to roll out with Android O, and it will roll out every single version after Android O. So pretty much what that means is, think of it as a light version of Android, and they said that's focusing on 3 things: the OS, apps, and the Play Store. So the OS is going to be stripped down and made as light as possible, and it will run on devices with 1 gig and less of RAM. So this is going to be like a really, really light version, and it's supposed to be really smooth and stuff like that. So they've probably done a lot of like witchcraft again to keep it working well. They've also made new Google apps, like a whole bunch of Google apps that work. They've also made new Google apps that are all less than 10 megabytes to work with Lite, and all the Play Store, all the apps that you can have access to from the Lite versions of them have to be followed by a strict guideline of how they work, and one of them is, again, they have to be less than 10 megs, for example. So the last thing they spoke about was VR and AR. And guys, you know how we have GPS? Well, what they did now is they've come up with their own little thing called VPS, which is Virtual Positioning System. And what that does is uses the camera on your phone to pinpoint like points of interest and things around, so it can figure out where it is without requiring GPS. So the one they show is like they're going to a store. What it does is you can have the camera open and it realizes from the furniture in the store and the shelves where it roughly is. So it can actually like make you go through aisle to aisle. So it can help you if you're looking for like a screwdriver, as the example they use. It can actually take you to the aisle that contains that screwdriver because of the camera that's built into your phone, which pretty much just finds points of interest and shows like little dots on the screen of where it's trying to take you. So pretty much think of it as GPS for indoors, and without requiring GPS, just use your camera, which is insanely cool. So that's about wraps up what happened at Google I/O. I'm pumped. I can't wait for Android O. Like, I am so pumped to run Android O on my Pixel. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below what was your favorite feature, and make sure you guys subscribe for more content.